Hello, everyone. This is Nāthan Theo Naicker from Spica Astrology, and I'm joined here today with my friend, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Nāthan. Hi, everybody.
And we are here to talk about divine guidance that we are receiving for the next 2 weeks. Now, we are starting off this next 2-week period with a new moon in Aquarius here, and is joined by the planet Mercury. And there's a lot of things going on in this astrology chart for the new moon. As you can see, there's a lot of red lines, which generally indicate a lot of call to action and things to be resolved so that we move forward. And so we're going to be talking about all of these and guidance for all of these going forward. The first message that we have is that in this 2-week period and starting off this 2-week period, we are at a place in our life where we've received new information. We've understood things in a different way. We've maybe read up on something or learned something that is going to help us clarify and update what we want to say, what we want to communicate, what we want to speak into our lives. Whether this is a learning milestone, insights of knowledge that you have, or training that you've been going through or are going through. But once you achieve that, just recognize how much you have achieved in that so far and take the lessons from that. Because that knowledge that you've received is going to help inform now what you want to do going forward, who you want to be going forward, how do you want to incorporate that going forward. So be open to looking at yourself in a new way because of what you've learned or the new skills that you've understood and added to what you already know.
And I think, what's important here is that we can so easily think of it as change, So when we're about to receive new information, we go, oh, change or learning. And I think coming from the period where we come from, we're tired of change. I hear clients say to me every day, I'm tired of change. I don't want to change. I don't want to learn anymore. It's just been such a learning curve that we're actually mentally exhausted. And then I would just respond with, well, what if it's better than before? What if it's better than ever? And I think if we open to receive new information or things change for you, to focus on the new way rather than thinking it's a change, because historically change meant old word, old beliefs. Change meant uphill. It meant uncomfortableness. And the message we receive is to change the word change to upgrade. If you're going into a new way, I'm upgrading. If you're receiving new information, I'm upgrading, new word, new energy. And that will assist us to be open-minded for the new to come in.
Beautiful. Yes.
Very powerful.
It's important to recognize that we also have a mental journey, things that we are adding to our lives.
Yes.
The second message revolves around relationship, which is always an icky area of our lives for most people, because it's the one that challenges us the most to look at ourselves through another person. And this doesn't have to be like a love relationship. It can just be the people that are in your personal space that you have a relationship with, whatever that relationship, dynamic is, parent, child, husband, wife, however, whatever it is. So
Yes.
There are important realizations about relationships that are coming through in this 2-week period that are going to firm up boundaries between people, because as you can imagine, we're spending a lot of time living in the same space with a lot of people. Families are living together in various lockdown scenarios, and there might be some necessary, it's necessary time to just place proper boundaries that actually bring clarity, because you're going to want to feel a little bit of your own space in the next 2 weeks. And that's going to be important for your other processes that you're going through. So sometimes being quiet just to keep the peace, sometimes it works, but it's not really going to work in this 2-week period. You're going to need to engage with things that are uncomfortable in the relationship dynamic to prevent them becoming worse, to prevent them from escalating. So nip them in the bud, deal with them, and be firm with those boundaries. So don't let uncomfortable feelings fester. Don't suppress them either, but rather channel your need for peace and harmony in your surroundings and in your personal space into doing something about it, into doing something different in that relationship dynamic that can change how everybody feels there in that relationship. So try and do something tangible. Ask yourself, what can I do that is tangible, that can add a bit of peace in this togetherness, that can add a bit of caring and nurturing into this dynamic from my point of view. And doing small things for yourself can restore you back to self-trust in these processes, because maybe someone's not who we thought they were, or people can't follow through with what they've promised, and because we're all under various stresses at this time. And so you take charge of your side, do small things for yourself, restore that self-trust with yourself, and that can make a big difference.
I think in addition to that, what's very important is, if we think of boundaries and if we think of doing things for ourselves, or sorting out the conflict, or speaking our truth, or setting boundaries in the first place, there's that one vibration that comes through that's called guilt. It's as if we feel guilty to do things for ourselves. It's as if we feel guilty when we have to do what serves us or not please others. There's a form of guilt that's keeping us either not speaking up, or that's keeping us just pleasing for the sake of keeping the peace. And I think, when we want to create abundance in relationship, and that's why I love the image that you chose here, because boundaries and flow and the energies of truth, that creates abundance. And abundance is not only for business. We can create abundant relationships. Abundance says there's a giving and a receiving. There's not manipulation and resentment and guilt, because in that energy, we can't be abundant. So if we just think of it from the perspective of abundance happens in a guilt-free zone. And if I think of how difficult boundaries is, or how difficult it is to speak my mind, or how difficult it is to do kind things for myself, just think that you're cultivating abundance when you do that. Because if you create that abundance, it returns to you and to the people around you. So we have to just remember that guilt-free zone. I'm thinking of the law of abundance now. And the law of abundance says that the effects of our actions come to us in the forms of gifts, in the forms of friendships, in the forms of money, in the forms of blessings, and it returns to us in the same energy that we gave it. So instilling boundaries and communicating our truth and doing it with that energy of love and abundance, that is what will return to you. And that is why you want to just remove guilt. You want to have a guilt-free zone.
Yes. And maybe people are also feeling guilty because of what they didn't do or they couldn't do themselves in past or present relationships. And I think this is going to be very necessary for them to work and move through that, to
And
uplift themselves from that.
yes, and to
Yeah.
release that, and let us not hold each other attached by cords of guilt and
Yes.
resentment and old and past hurts, because we want to create abundant relationships. That's how we're going to serve each other and work together going
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
Mm.
And then we come to something that is very important for the body. So in about a week's time, we're coming to an important point for the body, because the body is asking the question now, hey, what about me? And so here we're talking about our eating habits, we're looking at them. It's a good time to maybe change it up a bit. If you have been very frugal, maybe add more nice things to your diet, add a bit more comfort meals or cheat meals. It's okay. An extra slice of cake here and there's not gonna kill anybody, So, but if you've been too much on the indulgence side, then maybe you want to trim it down a bit, So it goes both ways. And this also plays to our spending habits. It's a question mark also that comes up for our spending. Are we spending where we need to? Can we look at our budget again? We can just don't run away from these dynamics, because they are important. They're about how we consume things in life, whether it's through money or through food. And this also impacts abundance. Is that right?
Absolutely. Because I think what's important here, and anytime when we look at extremes like too much cake or too much spending, there is also the other extreme of if I save money, for example, with what energy do I save it? Do I save the money with this energy of, oh, I've got to save, I'm not going to have enough, I've got to save, I'm not going to have enough? Or do I save with that energy of gratitude and joy to be able to do that? And that's what's important when we look at the balance between the extremes, the balance between giving and receiving, that abundant, that flow. It's got to be in balance. And just check if you have any fear of lack, because that fear of lack, the energy within which we eat, within which we save, that is what's important. That is what's going to expand for us. So when you overeat, check your vibration. Is it in joy, or is it because I'm anxious, or I'm in
lonely
fear? Lonely, or
yeah,
yes.
whatever.
And you can save with a grateful heart. You can go on an impulsive shopping spree with a grateful heart, or you can spend and go and buy that beautiful pair of shoes, and you can go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done that. So we've got to check the vibration here as well. And you want that balanced feeling, because a lack in balance creates fear, anxiousness, overspending, overeating. Our energy tells us where the flow is, and where the flow is, that is what's expanding for us.
We're coming out from a Aquarius new moon, so we all are starting off feeling a bit tired, feeling a bit mentally, empty. We're feeling like, okay, there's something new, there's new space. And, it's like climbing that mountain and the air is getting thinner, as we go. So we're looking for things to support ourselves, to add energy, to add light, to add, strength into, and so we can persevere. So the new moon energy that is starting these 2 weeks is just pushing that, driving that call to action to really look at these things. And like you say, where you're feeling lack, or where you're feeling a sort of disparity, to find ways to grow from that, take action on that, and move forward. There's something about your eating habits changing, or your spending habits changing, that has to do with who you are also becoming. And just think about it in that context as well.
And I think the gratitude is important, give with a grateful heart, receive with a grateful heart. And that's a good high vibration action that you can bring in when you look at these things, when you
Yes.
spend, when you save, when you prepare food, you know, that is so important for us, because it brings in a new, I mean, gratitude is miraculous.
Yes.
Gratitude changes so much in our lives.
And then we have some insight about communication. Like I said, there's a Mercury involved in this new moon, and we are being asked to watch our words. Maybe we're tired of communicating so much. We're tired of Zooms and Wooms and whatever, WebEx and this report and that emails, and we're just tired of these things, you know. So we maybe want to be more selective with our communication and make sure that what we're saying is necessary and what we're saying, we actually mean it, and coming with some compassion and kindness into how we are speaking. So don't, even if you're tired of communicating, you don't have to communicate in like a robotic way, like bullet points, just because you're tired. Actually, if you find that you communicate through compassion or kindness, or just change the tone of your voice a little bit, it might actually alleviate the heaviness that you're feeling also with the voice. So try to be a bit more lighter, try to be even maybe a little more playful, some jokes, some comedy sketches, you know, watch some of those shows, stand-up comedy and stuff like that, to just open it up and bring some of that imagination into the thinking and into the speaking. So whatever tasks you also have to be done on your to-do lists, break them down further into smaller parts so that it becomes lighter. You know, it doesn't feel like there's a heavy list in front to do.
I think a nice reminder there for ourselves, and as you were speaking, you know, it came to me that the concept of value, what we put out there, is it value? Yes, I must value myself and I've got to bring value, but when you have these communications, think of, how can I add value to this conversation? How can I add value to this piece of work? Have I perhaps maybe forgotten my own value? Because if you feel valued, then you will give that value and you will receive value back. And if we're tired and we're just doing things for the sake of doing them, then we lose the value, we lose the essence. So, yes, you know, so when you go on social media with your next post, do you bring value, no matter what post it is? And I think that will also help with this energy, you know, bring value to the meetings. And if you feel that you're too exhausted and you're not going to add value, excuse yourself for the moment, fill up your empty cup, you know, until you feel fueled up again. We're in service. We're in service for the greater good, and your value is bigger than what you think it is. It truly is.
Yes. Okay. And then the last message that we have for this 2-week period is about our emotional integrity. And that is emphasizing nurturing for ourselves over pleasure, over excitement, over stimulation. So by not being pulled or driven or engaged all the time in being plugged out there, being stimulated by out there, but maintaining yourself within yourself and maintaining that focus of your emotional integrity, emphasizing the activities that you're doing to nurture yourself, to be more present, you know, is going to be very helpful. The heart wants to be content. It wants to be satisfied with what is already there. And that's the key to making this work, rather than being excited or distracted all the time. Sometimes it's good to be stimulated, but that shouldn't be the focus in this time. So taking the time to check in with your heart. And having that personal sanctuary space and time can give you a sense of comfort with your life, that is going to help you stay with the decisions you've made, stay on course with the actions that you've decided to take, and allow you to see things in a proper perspective for yourself.
And we have to remind ourselves of the heart space. It's quite easy to forget this or get so used to the doing and the actions of every day. And I have the term called the heart cave. Every man loves a man cave. And, the famous she shed for the woman, where you feel it's your sanctuary and there no one disturbs you there. In the same way, spend time in your heart cave. If you don't go and spend time in the man's cave or in the she shed, you're not going to have the benefits from that space. So set a time, move to your heart cave and just connect with that heart space. Am I in my heart space? Even if you just center there, it's okay.
And just remember that this exercise of centering in the heart space doesn't have to be alone. It can be with the people who you share your heart with as well. Speaking back to the changes around food and spending and relationships and communication, there's almost a theme there of reconnecting the heart into all these areas, into people I share food with, people I share communication with, and just bringing that all together with the light of who you are.
Yes. And listening to your heart. Listen to your heart in every moment. And when you feel overwhelmed or you're a bit confused, just heart cave, heart cave.
Yes.
So just to recap with the tools that's really going to assist us and support us in being, in this way for the next 2 weeks, is to allow for the upgrade, change the word change to upgrade, and just allow for the upgrades to come through. Create those guilt-free zones in your relationships. If they're not working, ask yourself, is there any energy of resentment here or guilt? Check your vibe, vibe check. What's the temperature of the vibration? Is it in balance? Is it in extreme? What is my value when you feel tired or you feel, what am I contributing? What is my value that I bring to others? And go into the heart cave. You have to set the appointments there. Make an appointment in your calendar, heart cave, and take that time for that inner sanctuary.
Yes. I think it's all of these are important. The one that resonates with me is this: check, what is my value, and just remind myself of that. Yes.
And the beautiful message from divine guidance to support this next 2 weeks, in alignment with the chart and the action, Archangel Uriel is the archangel that supports us to remove fear and to take action. Those ideas that you get, haven't thought of that before. That's Archangel Uriel. He always reminds us that you know what to do. Go and do them. Be the emperor. And every single message that we've had is about this emperor energy, this emperor message, bringing the sun. And it's such a beautiful vibration to work with. Let the sun shine upon others. Let the sun shine upon your life. Let the sun shine upon what you bring. And this is the message, says that you will thrive through the power of positive thinking. Believe that you are success, and it just brings together everything that we've discussed so beautifully, this beautiful sun energy. And you'll notice the 1 and the 9 is also a 2, which brings us back to that imbalance energy as well.
Yes. It's a very inspiring kind of card.
It is. It is.
So speaking about letting the sun shine,
yes,
one of the beautiful things about climbing and going up top to these peaks, because we coming from an Aquarius new moon that's starting this 2-week period, which is, Aquarius is the mountain peaks of the world.
yes,
and the journey up there is not easy, and it's also a long journey coming back down. But the view, the perspective that it gives you is unmatched. So starting off as a new moon in Aquarius, we've all been given that, okay, are you looking at the view? You've climbed the mountain, you're doing your learning, you're doing your whatever, but have you stopped to look at the view, to survey, the lay of the land? And yes, there's a sun out there shining above the clouds. And it's a big aha moment for many people. It's a big confirmation moment of ourselves that we need to be reminded about.
Yes, yes. And I think these messages, the guidance will support this journey, absolutely. And like you said, we need the sun to keep us warm in the cold as well.
Yes.
I love this affirmation. Just create magic in every single sphere with all the 5 areas that we covered today. Remember, you create the magic in your decisions, in your relationships, in your work. You create the magic.
If you're looking at things that are happening to you in resistance mode, then it's going to be more challenging to create the magic, because you're not accepting it as part of your life experience. If you have the attitude that every moment, every experience, everything that's good or bad or whatever that's happening is a part of my life, such as it is, but it's my life, right? And I'm climbing that mountain, and I'm sure as hell going to reach the top. And then once you've accepted that these are all parts of your life, then you can actually be a co-creator, because you're now with it. You're now working with it. You're not like, oh, the mountain is my enemy. No, I've chosen this mountain. I'm climbing it. I may be halfway through, or I'm starting at the bottom, depending, no matter where you're at on that journey. But acceptance allows you to become a co-creator with what is happening.
And a different viewpoint. The view looks very different from up there.
Yes, that's so a thing, eh?
Yes, so let's allow a different viewpoint, another way of looking at things. Upgrade.
Upgrade. Yeah, mountain grades. Yeah, that's how we rank mountains, by their grade, their ranking. Yes, upgrade, really. Every level on the mountain that you reach is a different view. But it's a different view on the same world. Yeah. So it's just, that is the journey that is happening these next 2 weeks. And all these factors that we discussed will be in effect for the next 2 weeks. And I haven't put dates to them because some people might feel them earlier than others. So it is all there in the astrology as per the chart of the new moon for this 2-week period. And it's just a matter of, even if something's going to happen in the second half of this 2-week period, it doesn't hurt to prepare now for that. It doesn't hurt to be more conscious of it, because if it's conscious for you, then when it happens, you're not blindsided. You're sort of more ready and prepared for it. So I hope this new moon divine guidance video that we've done for you will help you become ready and embrace the next 2 weeks of your life more fully.
And wishing you an abundance of action, an abundance of gratitude, and enjoy the upgrade.
Thank you, everyone. We'll speak
Thank
to you in
you.
2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.